Hey everyone, welcome in. This is Julie Maxon, the main stamper. I am here for Thursday at 3. And today we are doing a fabulous fun fold card. And if some of you have tried this before, please let me know in the comments. This is not a brand new, exciting fun fold. Okay, first of all, it's exciting. It's just not brand new. We are doing the Flying Finch today. And some of you may know this as the Flying Seagull. So this was my first crack at it though. Look how pretty this is. This is the card in our closed position. And when we open it up, I have to remember which way I'm going, this way, we have more of a panel. We have open panels here on the sides. And the reason it's called a Flying Finch or Seagull is because these little panels here make it look like it's kind of a flying bird, right? So that's where you get this whole movement, and it's just gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. Now, I, of course, took the card concept of the Flying Finch card and applied it to my stamps, my papers, all of that good stuff. Just checking to see if anybody's on yet. Make sure that I'm live and you can all hear and see me. So as you jump on, please let me know that we are good to go. I think that we should be good to go. Anyway, so Flying Finch, this is a really awesome card. Hi, Jess. Jess is on, so we're good. So you will have this in your email newsletter today. And if you are not signed up for my newsletter, just jump in anytime. I can get that information for you. Every Thursday, I send out the card recipe that we do together at 3 o'clock. So this is a really awesome card. We are using some of the new upcoming papers that are in the fall mini catalog, which are gorgeous. And if you saw my newsletter, okay, first of all, you know that I'm doing a product share. So you can get a sample of papers, you can get a sample of ribbon, you can get a sample of both, and you can get free embellishments. There's also brand new paper coming. There's more paper coming. I put a little blurb in my newsletter today. On September 6th, there's even more designer paper coming. Perfect for Christmas. I think 4 out of 5 are Christmassy themed, which I can never have enough Christmas paper. I love all of it. So anyway, there'll be more that way. Thanks, Jess. I'm glad I'm good to go. Hi, Rhonda. All right, let's get over to my workspace because we're going to talk about the Flying Finch today. So I did ask earlier, as you're jumping on, have you ever tried this card, this fancy card fold, right? So here it is in the closed position, and of course beautiful papers and such. And then as you open it, it opens like this, and it's just gorgeous. So again, we're going to put this one together. This was new to me. I did my very first one last night. And you're going to want a Post-it note. You're going to want a ruler. Of course, you need a bone folder, right? You need some basics here. We've been working with layering leaves this week. In fact, if you missed my class on Monday, we did, and this is the card I was talking about today on Facebook. This is all with a leaf. So you can kind of see here how I like to layer my leaves. I like to put a sentiment on there, and then I like to put leaves top and bottom. So it's kind of like floral arranging, right? So you can use any kind of sentiment piece. That's that one. And here's another where I've got the leaves going up this way. This is from my card class this week. Again, sentiment piece, and there's my little leaves, just like that. This was my color swap card, and I asked everybody which one they liked better. So this was my card class this week. You can get 6 of these card kits with your qualifying order. That goes through tomorrow, so I wanted to share that. And if you missed last week's class, last week's Thursday class, this is not the first time that I've used the beautiful papers. This is a paper we're using. Gorgeous papers from the new fall mini, right? We actually used a piece last week, and it is this beautiful, gorgeous design right here. So this paper pack, All About Autumn, has all of those really fun, glitzy, glamoury. This was last week's fun fold. So if you missed that, you can check that out on YouTube as well. So that was our one from last week. So this is the Flying Finch, and I'm using the layering leaves. So you're going to have this card recipe, and we're going to follow along because again, it's a little tricky. So for this particular card, I'm actually using the front and the back of the designer series paper to do one card. So you can see I've got both patterns here. I love this paper. All About Autumn. I'm ready. It's a nice crisp day here in Maine, although we're expecting some more hot weather, and I'm not excited about the hot weather, but today is gorgeous. All right, back to our card. We are going to need some paper to put this together. This has got a lot of layers and details. So you're going to need 2 panels that are 5.5 by 6 1/4. These are the ones we're going to score, and I'm going to score them with you. And then this is your front panel. This is 3.5. Nope, make that 3. Yes, 3.5 by 5.5. Okay, so this is going to be the front panel. This is the panel that you see right here on the front. Okay, so we're going to do our scoring first because the scoring is always the trickiest part. Let me bring in my tool here. Now you're scoring this along the 6¼ inch length, right? So if I put this into my trimmer and I had my arm out, this would be 6¼ We don't need to have the arm out right now. We're going to start scoring at 1½. So I'm just going to line this up at 1½ right here, move my cutting blade out of the way, and I'm going to score this at 1½. I'm going to move it to 2¾ and then we're going to go to 4 5/8. So the 4 5/8 is just a little bit over the 4½. Okay, so that's one of them scored. Now, as you pick this up, we need to keep in mind, so there's 4 score lines here that might be hard to see, but the very first score line that we did on this paper is 1½. Excuse me, 1½. This is going to be the outside right here on one of our arms. So I know that this last panel right here, I'm going to put a little X on it, and that's just going to help us out later. So we've got 1½, so we scored it along. So that's just exactly how we scored it. We're going to repeat here. We're going to do the second panel at 1½ again. And then we've got 2 3/4. If I mess this up, I have some on standby. 4 5/8. Because I'm always like, it's possible. Okay, 4 5/8. So again, this very first panel right here was my 1½. So I know the very last panel here, I'm going to put an X on it. We're going to be covering those X's up, so we don't have to worry about that. That just really makes it so much easier as we put our folds together. So I've got 2 identical papers here with my score lines. So the first score line in my directions, I said we want this one to be a mountain. So we're going to fold it this way. Then we're going to do valley. And we're doing valley. So we're actually folding the one with the X. We're folding it in. So it's coming in to this, in toward the others. Okay, so that one's coming in. I'm just going to bring in my bone folder and just kind of crease these down a little bit and make sure we have some nice, the folds will work a lot nicer if you do, you know, some aggressive bone folder work here. Now I'm using the thick white cardstock, so it is a thicker cardstock to begin with, but it also helps to have a really great base. Okay, so here's our mountain, valley, valley, right? So it kind of looks like that when we're all done. We're gonna do the same thing over here. Okay, so we're gonna do mountain, valley, and then this one's again gonna come in, valley. Now if you fold these the wrong way, you just refold them as we go. And there's a possibility that I've already folded mine the wrong way. But I have my X's, and the X's are gonna tell me where I need to apply the glue for this base. So here's my X right here. So I'm gonna flip these. So I did fold those the wrong way. So, okay, Betsy, you getting back in there, honey? Let's do this again. We did this on Monday too. Okay, I'm rescuing my microphone cord. Come on, how many legs does this dog have? Okay, sorry about that. My dog decided to climb under the bench. With my microphone cord, always. And I think she has 10 legs today. She's like a caterpillar or something under there. All right, so I should be still good. Yes, it looks like my microphone's still working. Okay, delay of game here. And then we are back to our little X's, so we can see that so I have them this way. And what I need to do is I need to get them lined up properly, because my X's are actually going to be a gluing process here. So I'm going to flip this way. Let me flip this way. Now I'm miscombobulated. We're going to go this way. Okay, so here we go. I just want to kind of show you as I'm going how this kind of lays out. All right, so here's my 2 X's right here on the front, right? And my panels are going, as you can see, they're concentrically going in the right angles here. All right, so now I'm going to bring my X's down this way. And let me see here. We're going to bring this in this way. We're going to just bring them just like this, I think. Nope, that's incorrect. Oh dear. This is live TV, and I'm like trying to figure out how I'm doing this. Okay, we're going to go like this. I will fix as I go, but this is how we're going to do this. So I've got my 2 X's right here, right? So if I hold them up, they're going to meet here in the middle. So my 2 X's are right here. And that I know is absolutely correct, because I'm going to be gluing this white panel right here. Whether the other ones are going the right direction right now or not, I'm not going to worry about it, but I do have a Post-it note. This is going to be helpful. So I'm just going to apply. So the sticky right here on the Post-it note is just going to come down right here on the back of this panel. And I'm going to line this panel up so you can see that this little flap with the X on it would fold over. I'm going to do the same thing side by side. So I'm going to line them up so they're the same height and just snugged right together. So these two papers right here are snugged together and they're being held in place by my little Post-it note, right? So you can see my Post-it note there on the back. Okay, when I marked these X's, I meant to know where I needed to put my glue. So my glue is going to come down on here on both of these X'd panels, okay? So both of them are getting some glue. My front panel is going to be centered on this. And I've also got score lines here and here. So I'm centering this on the glued area, but also my score lines side to side, because these folded over glued panels are smaller than the white panel that I'm putting on the front. So I'm just kind of putting it on here and I'm trying to center it. So we've got about 1/8 of an inch on either side that go toward the next score line. And it's completely 5.5 inches tall. So now I have that attached. So now you can see that this front panel is attached. I can take my Post-it note off. My Post-it note work is done. Okay, now we just need to make sure that our Flying Finch is going in the right direction. I might need to bring in my original here to make sure I have my folds going the right way. So this is where I mentioned that you can refold these as needed, as long as you have the right sides out. So you want the 1.5 inch sides on the outside, and that's just so that when we put this together, we have the right layering to go all beautifully together. So there we go. So now my card is going to come in like this, and it's going to fold in like this, and then when it's flat, it should be 4 1/4. So it's your basic A2 size card, 4 1/4 by 5.5. Okay, that's the hard part. That's it right there, right? So yes, there's a little bit of like play with the paper. Again, this is the second time I've made this card. I made one last night. Took some great pictures, and I had on standby some X'd pieces that were scored just in case I messed it all up and had to like grab my other papers. But when you make something this technical, I would make a sample and just keep it. I would just keep the sample forever and ever so that you can refer back to it whenever you want to say to yourself, how in the heck how did I make that? Because even with great directions, I feel like having a physical copy in front of you it just makes it so much more clear. Now I'm just going to go ahead and add my layers together here. So I've got this beautiful tree paper, and it's almost a shame to put the foil paper down, but I love all of these different colors together. This is a piece of Mossy Meadow that I am layering behind my designer series paper, and I mat a lot in my cards. So I'm matting this right to the front. And of course, as you make these cards, you can use whatever papers you love. So I have 2 pieces of white cardstock, and I did use the Leaf Fall embossing folder. This one, I talked about this in my class on Monday. This is in the online store. You can still get the Leaf Fall, and I manipulated it so that I could really get a lot of leaf design in here. And none of these papers have orientation, so it's really nice to not have to look at them and go which side, which way is top, which way is bottom. So the white panels that are embossed, they're just going on the outside. You could use designer series paper. You could use colorful cardstock. Don't limit yourself when you see a design. Use whatever you love. So again, this is the designer series paper from the trees. I just love this paper. I have to remember to glue the right side down now this time, because I do want opposites. Now you could do all the way across. You could do trees, trees, trees if you wanted to. Definitely think about all the different ways you could design with this card. Just gorgeous. And I like the panels here that we get to decorate and add all this pretty colorful paper. It just makes me happy. Colorful paper makes me happy. So you can see as this is coming along, looks just like my original, right? So there we have the bones of the card, right? And just have to remember to fold in and then fold it this way. So you can't put a panel behind here. This has to be able to move, right? This is our flying bird, so it has to move. There's a lot of movement to this card. All right, so for our front, and I did all of this ahead of time because I really wanted this card to be about the fold and assembling. I took the, I think this one's called the, what is this one called? Handmade Tag Punch. And this is a really interesting punch. This was in the mini catalog, the fall catalog last year, carry over. So I took this one, punched it out. I heat embossed gold Best Wishes from the Layering Leaves stamp set. So we've got Best Wishes right here, and I just kind of played around to see what would fit on here, and I thought Best Wishes in gold, I mean, this is just such a fancy card. I felt like that was a good way to go. And I also punched from upcoming paper some of these really beautiful leaves. Now I used this is the copper oxidized paper, so it's just a little strip here. I talked about the best way to trim your paper to fit into your punch on Monday. If you missed that, you can go check out the video, but I talked about measuring the width of your design, cutting your paper so that you're not wasting it to get just like one punch out of it. So I pre-punched those. I also took a scrap of old olive, and again, trying to not waste paper, right? So I cut it just right. I punched the leaves, you know, I stamped them in old olive ink, punched the leaves, so I have very little waste there. So that's great. We have all of those little elements. Did that in the old olive, and now we're just on to final assembly here. So I like to use tear and tape to put my leaves down, and we're going to just put 2 going this way and 2 going this way. And I think I'm going to put the copper ones more front this time. So in my original, I have the copper ones in the back, and they kind of do blend in with my pattern paper here. Like when you look at it in person, you see all the shine and pretty, you can see them. This time I'm going to try to leave them on the front and leave the green behind, and see if that makes a good difference on our finished card. I like to change things up while I go live because, you know, let's see what happens, right? So I'm just going to use a little bit of tear and tape, and I'm just taping down the edges of each of my little leaf collection here, right? I know that this is going to come over top. I always do a dry fit first just in case I need to adjust anything. Now would be the time to adjust. I am going to remove the tear and tape paper backing because I found through trial and error, as most people find, right, through trial and error, that if you leave this paper on, it's waxy. This is a waxy paper, and when I put my my dimensionals on, and if I leave that little waxy paper on, my dimensionals, they tend to slip back off. They're like, we don't need to stick to wax. And I'm like, yes, that makes perfect sense to me. So we're going to just remove that little bit of paper, expose the sticky there. I've got 4 dimensionals here for my little tag, which is absolutely adorable. And of course, if you're not a fan of heat embossing, you can definitely just, you know, stamp a sentiment in there. It does not have to be heat embossed, but it just makes it so much prettier. So we're just going to line this up here. It's kind of catching the middle, and it also helps to hold my little leaf display down a little bit. So there we go, just like that. Close my card up again so we can see it in the closed position. And we need to add a little bling, because of course bling finishes everything. This iridescent pastel gems I thought would be really good. Maybe I'll try this coral color one this time. I used it's almost basically really an iridescent color on this one, and it kind of it picks up the tones in the card. But let's try something new. We're going to try these ones right here, and let's try this end. We'll scoop these off of here hopefully, and I'm going to put a couple on here. Oh, I think these ones might show up a little bit nicer. And again, I don't want them to scream blatantly like, here I am, I'm a bling. I want them to be, you know, they're there and they're subtle, but they're beautiful, right? So there, I don't know if you can see them in the light or not, but that's what the darker embellishments look like. Let's get my card back up here and we'll check out. It's hard. The cards just keep wanting to like fly open here. It's let me see if I can get these to go. I think with being in an envelope and being folded flat for a while, they will tend to get into a flatter nature. But there we go. I've got them under control here. So on the left, I've got the little orangey colored gems, and on the right, I've got the more clear gems. And I think I like the gold. I think I like the leaves here, the copper leaves here at the top better as well. So that is a look at our Flying Finch card. I'm going to pop back over and see if we have any comments and see. Hi, Patty. Yes, just thanks for the post-it tip. Absolutely welcome. So I saw this card design, Susan Campfield. I believe it's Susan Campfield. She does a lot of fun folds. So, I mean, she's like a fun fold queen, really. So I watched her demonstration and I checked it all out and I saw how she made it, and she used the post-it note in the demonstration that I watched. And I thought that was brilliant. So, of course, I'm going to pass on all the best tips to you as well. But I wanted to make this a quicker video, right? Because really, when you're watching a video and you need to know the how-tos, you don't want to spend 40 minutes on one card, right? So I try to make it 15-20 minutes, which is where we hit today. So I'm so glad that I was able to get this card folded, put together, and just like the darker bling. Yeah, so I like to experiment too. While I am on here, I don't care if I'm live and I've never done it before. I like to change it up a little bit, and that way I can show you a couple of options too. I'm not just recreating the card I made. I'm showing you that even as you're at home making cards, change it up, right? You see a sample you love, absolutely make it, but maybe you want to change it a little bit too. There's always that artistic endeavor to make our cards awesome. Hi, Janice. I'm glad you love the card. It was so good to see you on here today. I am going to sign off. That was my card for today. Don't forget, it's the last day of August. This is the last day for bonus coupons if you have any. The last day for the kit sale with Stampin' Up. Tomorrow is the last day to sign up for my product shares if you're interested in that. If you need any more information on any of my classes, please let me know. You can get signed up for my email newsletter and get these awesome recipes in your mailbox every Thursday. You can print them and all that good stuff too. All right, everybody, have a great afternoon. I will be back on Monday. I realize Monday is Labor Day, but I will be back on Monday at 8 p.m. with my regular Monday card class. We're going into the new catalog. I am so excited to start sharing things from the new catalog. All right, everybody, have a great afternoon. Thanks for your time today. And until next time, stay inspired, create something beautiful, and share the love. Bye.